Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, July 2nd, 2021. And we are here back with another chop session. Excuse me, it's episode 115. And we're calling this one the Mid-Year Awards Show. And it's actually quite timely because we just finished the first 6 months of the year and we have a lot to talk about. I will be joined by my co-host, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, momentarily, and we will talk about a number of the things that transpired up until this point from the first of the year. I want to say welcome to you all out there. Please smash that like button as you come in. I know we've got a number of things that people want to talk about and want to hear us talk about. And we'll try to cover some things in this show. There's a lot of stories that are breaking, things that are uncertain and everything. And we're going to try to talk about a little bit of everything in tonight's show. As I said, it's episode 115. So we're a little bit behind on that because Stormy has taken some time off here and there, but it is needed. Believe me, totally necessary in order to recharge the batteries and be able to keep going. Don't want me to pass out on the mic out here, but we're working. So I want to say salute to everybody that's out there in the chat. We got a few people that was out there. Pardon the long intro, but that's what we try to do to get people, to get their notifications and things like that and get themselves set up to join the show. We got kind of Loco Sports out there. L Dog is out there. He says, Fighter of the Year, Josh Taylor. KO of the Year, Oscar Valdez, KO Burchelt. And he's trying to do the show without Stormybman. L Dog, go sit down somewhere, man. Let the show get started and let us get cooking. But no, I know, I'm just kidding. I put the poll question out there. Who do you think? So I'm expecting to get a lot of comments in the chat like that. Stormybman just like to start going after people from time to time just to keep himself interested. So Bruce Goes, channel member, is out there. He says, salute to Stormybman. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. Cadillac Red is out there. Says, salute Grandmaster Sensei. And let's see, Andrew Charles has joined us. He says, salute Stormybman. Dave the Real Thomas is out there as well. Good to see you back, Dave. Everybody's coming on in. That's right. Smash that like button as you come in, family, and see what we can get going. But I haven't done an awards show since I've been doing my Friday night chop session and my channel. So this year will be my first year giving a mid-year report and an end-of-the-year report if I survive to the end of the year. But, I've listened to other shows as they've given that. And what's great about those type of shows is it gives you an opportunity to go back and recount some of what you've taken in, because although we might try to catch every card or a piece of every card, although we may try to go back and revisit something that we really liked and enjoyed, there's always something you forget. So it's like, I'm glad to just tune in to the other channels and see what they have to say and everything, because sometimes I look at it and say, dang, I forgot about that fight. I forgot about that happened, So it's good to do that from time to time. And, what I'm trying to say is there's no wrong way to cover, because it's actually an opinion-based way of looking at things what you've taken in thus far in the year. But I will tell you guys, for some of you out there who elected not to get certain access, whether it's the Showtime pay-per-view, DAZN, ESPN Plus, you're missing out on some good boxing, because that doesn't mean that each and every platform hits home runs on every broadcast. But man, when you take them all in, you'll find that some had a greater night than others, and some featured something that you are glad that you tuned in to witness. So all of that works in your favor when you have that accessibility. And when you have multiple devices where you can watch a little something on this one and a little something on that one and on your TV. So we like to utilize what's at our fingertips of today, because there was a time when you had to just, record one channel and go back and watch something. Go back and watch something on another channel. So now we've got it where we can kind of tune in to different sources all at the same time, simultaneously. And if you're one of those video buffs and gear buffs, you can fix all of that to work just fine with you at home. I know my man L-Dub, shout out to Lawrence Williams, he's out there. That brother be watching everything. He be having all the bases covered. So, and that's good that we're able to do that now. Before we really start getting into, I want to pay a few bills here and remind you all that down there in the description box is a link, and also on the main page, right in the profile picture in the bottom right corner, is a link as well for both the Stormyman Streamlabs merchandise mart and also the PayPal. If someone is interested in donating to the channel, you can hit that PayPal button that's on the main page in the picture for the Stormybman logo on the main page. In the description box, there's the merchandise link there. You can stop by there. We've got plenty of gear that you can pick up when you want to support the channel. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, rain jackets, windbreakers. We've got masks. We've got drawstring bags. We got backpacks, baseball caps. You name it, we got it out there on the Stormybman merchandise Streamlabs store. So go over there and check yourself out something, and there's something in the bag for everybody, as I like to say. And just a reminder to do that. Also, for donating to the channel, we have running at the bottom of the screen on the ticker bar there in black and gold, there's the links for the channel, as well as the Cash App, which is $StormyBman66, if you want to hit up the Cash App, or if you just want to take down that link for the Streamlabs. I mean, it scrolls down there. It's always scrolling down there at the bottom. I got it scrolling a little slow for those that read slow, like, that's going slow down there for y'all, special ones. So just remember, Stormybman keeps everybody in mind when he's doing those things. Also, we have the Black Gentleman Grooming Company link that's down there. It's a shareable link and a clickable link. It take you right over there to the Black Gentleman's Grooming Company website. And again, handcrafted products, lotions, soaps, deodorants, you name it, all for the betterment and enrichment of taking care of yourself hygienically. Okay, and if you click on that link, it can take you over there. You buy yourself something. If you mention Stormybman, the code, you get 10% off your purchase over there. So being an official ambassador of the Black Gentleman Experience, Stormybman likes to remind viewers to go over there, take the time out, get you something from the Black Gentleman Grooming Company. It's time for me to make another order myself, and I really like the products. This is not just plugging, but this is supporting, and it's also getting something out of it because the products work great on me. I got my little goatee coming out here, and that beard butter works really good, man. I'm telling you. So get yourself some, and everything smells wonderful. Very, very earthy. It's just enriching, and glad to know that we can have something out there for the community where we can support it like that and kind of keep everything going in a rotation as a community should do. So please go over there, support my man Junior the Truth who kicked this all off, and it's a great thing, man. Also, one more reminder is for those of you who have been on the channel for a minute, Stormybman likes his sort of Kung Fu films, and I even do a show called Kung Fu Film Focus. We got something going on with the Kung Fu Film Focus right now, where we have a film that's coming up that's going to be reviewed soon, The Chinese Mac. And there's also a free giveaway for a Blu-ray for Jackie Chan's Drunken Master, which is a classic film from 1978, the film that really shot Jackie Chan to superstardom. And this particular Blu-ray remaster shows his film like never before. The detail and everything is excellent on this. I never thought that they could take an old Chinese Kung Fu film like that and make it look so clean and clear. It looks like it was just filmed yesterday. And you can see all the makeup on the guys and everything, the fake wigs they wear and all of that stuff, and vivid detail. So, go over there. You just enter the code. Not the code. You just enter to win. You type in enter to win after any comment on any of the content that's on the channel. And the 50th person who types in enter to win after their comment will get this free giveaway. And we will be having more free giveaways in the future. They won't just be Kung Fu films. For those of you that's out there saying, man, I don't want no damn Kung Fu movie. We'll have other giveaways that's free. But this is just the very first one, and it's slow moving right now. We only have about 20 to 21 comments that have been tallied toward this free giveaway. So for those of you who like free stuff, man, get the typing. Type on a comment at the end of this show and just put enter to win after your comment, and then your comment will be tallied toward this free giveaway. So that's what we're doing here. And now that we've got all of that out the way, let's talk about some Friday night chop session content, man. We have been seeing the fighters preparing for the big fight that everybody's been anticipating. I tell you, man, it's funny when you see certain things and you look forward to seeing what's going to happen. Nobody really knows, but it's on the horizon. We are looking to see what may happen when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury get back in the ring for that scheduled rubber match that's coming up on July 24th. We are now officially in the month of July, so the fight is in just a few weeks, and we are going to see the big showdown. Third fight between these two gentlemen, and I can't wait. I'm sure some of you can't wait. We had a few more people that popped into the chat. We got Andrew Charles out there, Dave the Real Thomas, Thrill Hill, TS Boxing, my man Tyrone, Brown on Boxing, and L Dub is out there. What's good with you, L Dub? Good to see you, bro. And Rashid Rourke has popped up in there as well. Everybody, glad to see you all out there. This fight, man, this is going to be a barn burner, man. I don't think it's going to be an easy deal for either man, but I am definitely pulling for my man Deontay Wilder. I'm excited that he's getting his chance at his contractually obligated third fight with Fury. It looked for a while there that they were trying to not fight Wilder for the third time and everything, and since the second fight was such a controversial situation that led to a tremendous amount of silence, believe it or not, from Deontay Wilder, but it seemed like everybody that could had something to say on his behalf. And only recently has he reappeared publicly, and definitely with the single and only press conference that they had to appear for their scheduled bout. He's elected to be quiet, and he wants to let his fists do the talking. And in a fight where he says this is a blood and grudge match here, so let it be what it's gonna be. And to that end, we can only anticipate how this may go. But I'll tell you this, with two big men like that, it's going to be fireworks. And I expect it to be action-packed. I don't know about you guys, but I will be tuned in. And I know we got a lot of brothers from the community that's going down to support in person, which the fight is going to be held in Vegas. And I think that that's a great thing, to show support like that for those who can get out there and show support behind this and let the champ know that his people are rocking with him and everything. There's nothing like a heavyweight championship match, man. And even though there's a guy across the pond that has several titles in his possession, this is a real heavyweight championship fight here. And between these two men, I consider them the two top in the division. And whoever wins this fight will cement himself as such. I don't believe that Anthony Joshua has what these two men have, either in skill or in intestinal fortitude. So we will see what happens when these two gentlemen lay it on the line and come out there on July 24th. And I'm telling you, man, you can't miss this one. You can't miss it. It could either be a very tough fight drawn out to go to a hard-fought decision. It could be something that ends very early. It could be something that ends up getting brutal. Or it could be a little bit of everything. The only thing that I can tell you is that for whatever Tyson Fury feels going into this fight, it's not like he ran to it. He was trying to avoid it. And Mr. Wilder did everything possible to make certain that it's going to happen, including seeking legal arbitration. So now that the fight is on, hey, you got to step up. You got what you asked for. Mr. Fury, you got to step up. You never defended a title. So we got to see what's going to happen here. And I am pulling for the Bronze Bomber. We got a couple more people that have popped up in there. Mr. Pac-Man 216 says, salute, big dog. Salute to you. MP WTF is out there, says, salute Stormy in chat. What's good, y'all? What's good with you? OG Eric in St. Louis is out there and says, salute to the Storm. Salute to you. L-Dub says, I will be in Vegas for Wilder Fury. That's great stuff, L-Dub. Hopefully you can capture some footage where you go live and let us know exactly what's going on. Everybody that's going to be there going to be going live. It's probably going to be more people looking at their phones broadcasting what just happened than that's taking in the event itself or whatever. So that's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to have everybody tuned in on all my devices because I won't be able to make that trip out there to Vegas, but I'm going to be there with you guys in spirit. And I'm just hoping and pulling for a great fight and an exciting ending to the fight. So we'll see. Rashid Rourke says, peace to MP. And 100 Tuber says, who you got and why, Stormy? I just explained that. Rashid Rourke is saluting OG Eric. And Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens popped up there in the chat. He says, salute my peoples. And MP says, this fight will be epic if Fury show up. He's going to show up. I do believe that he is going to show up. And remember, a scared man is a dangerous man. And I don't care what anybody says. He can put on his poker face and everything. Man, Tyson Fury is afraid in this fight. He was afraid in the second fight and the first fight, which is why certain things took place that weren't on the level. And that's all in the past now. We're dealing with this one. You take each one as an individual situation. And this one is the one where he has to come in and he has to defend himself. He has to stand up for what he believes in, just as the Bronze Bomber is going to stand up for what he believes in. And at some point, they're going to meet in the center of that ring, and it's going to have to jump off. What's going to happen in the thereafter? We don't know, but it's highly anticipated. And listen, we're going to be tuned in to see it. That's exactly right. And we got a guest in here with us this evening in the studio. We got Curtis Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar. What's going on with you, Kurt? How you doing this evening?
Oh, man, it's just a wonderful Friday evening. Got the rain going, and I usually listen to my house music on Fridays, but decided to join you. I just came off Blue Blood, and I asked to have a close relationship in boxing. You gotta be careful what you ask for, because God will give it to you. So I'm doing double duties tonight, dropping in to talk some boxing.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. And salute to BFTB Boxing. I see you out there. He says, what up, Unc? What's going on with you? BFTB, good to see you on this Friday night, man. Yeah, Kurt, just opening up, talking about what's on the horizon. And this particular fight here, I had said after the press conference that each Friday night chop session would be there would be a theme at the base of the show where something would be discussed about this fight. And I know that Reggie was coming in a little bit later. So I just opened up talking about this a little bit. But this is also a mid-year awards show. And we're going to discuss something for the first time on the chop session where I'm doing an awards show, which means, like, as I explained, I've tuned in and watched a lot of the other brothers do their awards show. And what I've taken from that is there's no wrong way to do an awards show, especially when you're taking in account how you saw the matches, how your experience was when, you took in the bouts that have happened, in the first 6 months of the year. So I'm kind of excited about getting into that, for this evening. And I do hope that at some point we can get around to the Thunderous Top 10 list as well, because we had another stellar performance by Tank Davis, man, who is starting to live up to Mr. Leonard Ellaby's famous quote, Tank Davis is a star. So he is doing his thing, and salute to Tank for his performance and his battle against Mario Barrios. But what are your thoughts on mid-year reviews of boxing, Kurt, as we go through calendar years?
Well, I like the way boxing is going. I mean, we're not getting all the fights, but we're getting most of them. Boxing is the schedule. We have 2 huge pay-per-views coming up, 2 very good fights, and we done had a lot of good fights, a lot of interesting fights. So boxing is in a good place. We normally trash boxing, but when boxing gets it right, we don't give boxing credit. So the Castano and Charlo fight is coming. Ramirez and Taylor fight, they fought for undisputed. Charlo and Castano for undisputed. You got pay-per-views. Just ordered the pay-per-view. Tank Davis versus Barrios was a very good fight. I ordered that pay-per-view. So, we talk bad about boxing when boxing makes a boo-boo, but when boxing gave it right, we have to, give credit where credit is deserved. And we have a lot of good fights coming up, and the year is not even over with. You know, we're going to have another barn burner in September, Brandon Figueroa versus Stevie Fulton. You know, you have up-and-coming prospects. You know, you got multiple channels boxing. You had a card on Sunday night last week. You got cards on. I like when cards have the zone have the afternoon cards, and then you have the main fight Saturday night. So boxing, to me, is in a good place right now. There's nothing to complain about. Just be quiet and watch the fights materialize.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's interesting, man. But I'm gonna give everybody a sneak preview because I'm proud of my artwork here, Kurt. This is a look at the Stormybman Awards trophy for the mid-year review on the categories that we have. And the categories for this evening's show, we got definitely Fight of the Year. We've got KO of the Year. We have Fighter of the Year, Comeback of the Year, Upset of the Year, and we got Prospect of the Year and Trainer of the Year thus far. So those are the categories that we have for this particular award. This is what it looks like. I hope you guys like the little design there. Stormy tried to be a little creative on that, and I was proud of my work. I kind of sent an image of that out earlier today. I sent one out to Kirk. I sent one out to Reggie, and I said, hey, what you guys think of this, you know? And, you know, just listen, this is what it's all about. You kind of make it like, hey, it's worth the time to invest and get in there and stuff like that. So I just thought I would do that first go around, man. But you're right, Kurt. Boxing has been headed definitely in the right direction. It seemed to be picking up steam in the late quarter of last year and kind of like, you know, kicked off and started off, you know, going, you know, forward in this year. So been very happy with what we've seen out of it. And listen, we can talk about a few things regarding the fights of the year. But I guess I'll save Fighter of the Year for last. But the first one that we can talk about would be Comeback of the Year. And that one right there, I'll throw it out to the chat first and let the chat write out, who do you guys think you would give Comeback of the Year for the half year point right now to? I have my person in mind. Kurt, I'd like you to think about yours, and in a couple of minutes we'll kind of take that to the chat and see what they have to say, because we can stress this out throughout the show as we talk about other things. And as we get around to that question being answered, I wanted to ask Kurt something. I had heard something just after I got home, Kurt, from work, and I was having my dinner. There's some talk that maybe the Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant fight will not happen. Have you heard something about that?
Yeah. Well, Billy Joe Sanders got 8 million. What I'm hearing, Plant wants 10. So he's playing a little hardball in negotiations. He knows Canelo wants that last piece of strap to make history become undisputed. So right now he's sandbagging.
Okay.
Now Canelo can go. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Canelo can go back to the negotiating table and say, okay, we'll come to a medium. We'll give you 9 million or 8.5. But there's all Plant. If Plant said no, $10 million, and that's it, no less. So it's up to Canelo's team to say, okay, make the deal. So he may play hardball. He did say, if I can't get Plant, then I'll go for Better Beef and Bibble or Bibble.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because I would, if they offer him exactly what they offer Billy Joe, which is, I don't know, what did you say that was? What did they offer Billy Joe?
He got 8.
He got 8.
8 million.
If they offer him what Billy Joe got, I mean, is Caleb Plant better than Billy Joe? I don't know that. You know, they both have these records, but you know, not against proven opposition. Canelo will be the first proven opposition that he fights, just like he was for Billy Joe. So at the end of the day, there's a such thing as pricing yourself out of an opportunity as well. So you could say, you know, save face and be like, no, but we're not going to allow that to be considered saving face. We're going to call it exactly what it is. You don't really want to fight because you can't make $8 million fighting nobody else in the sport of boxing, Caleb Plant. You can't make $8 million fighting nobody else in boxing. So who you crapping, as they say? Get your butt in there, put your belt on the line, and go ahead and take that payday and the butt whooping, because you ain't going to beat Canelo Alvarez. But anyway, that's my thought on that one, Kurt. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, that's a expensive duck right there, you know, $8 million. And he wants more. For what? What has he done? Huh? When he fought Caleb Truex, you couldn't tell if that was Caleb Plant or Caleb Truex. They looked like the same dude as far as I'm concerned. That miserable performance that he put on over there, and he wants somebody to give him an extended purse. Man, he better go sit his butt down somewhere, man. That foolishness.
Yeah, well, I said, I kept telling people Caleb Plant is not beating Canelo Alvarez. I see that when the Truex fight, I said that was a horrible performance. Getting hit with uppercuts, being against the ropes. I said, nah. I said, Canelo going to stop him. And I truly feel like that because none of them guys, potential opponents for Canelo, is not preparing themselves properly to go in battle with Canelo. You know, they're not active and they fight in low-level competition. They ain't even looking good. So Sanders, Charlo, Andrade, and Plant, you can put them in the same pot and they come out the same like gumbo. That's just who they remind me of. They the same people. You know, all of them has flaws one way or another, but they didn't give themselves a chance to beat Canelo because of lack of activity and low-level opposition.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that woman of his, I know she's probably better get in his ear too. Boy, you better take that money. Who you think you are? Get your butt in there. Take that doggone money. Because you're going to take a butt whooping anyway. Might as well get paid for it. You know what I mean? And no extras. You know? But yeah, man, that's you know, that's what I think about it, Kurt. It's like, these guys of today are such diva-minded dudes, man. They kill me with this stuff. They act like they're trying to, you know, be something and then try to hide behind like, well, it's hard negotiation tactics or whatever. No, it ain't. You just, you know, you ain't confident. You just want to see if you push that price range out a little bit, they'll say, oh, forget you then, and go on. And then be like, he didn't want to fight me. He didn't want to pay. Pay you for what, Caleb Plant? Pay you for what? Let's take his last purse against Caleb Truax. I think that's the last dude he fought, right? And let's count the zeros behind that check. And then whatever Canelo's camp is offering him and see how that measures up. We got my man Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens in the house now. What's going on with you, Reggie? How you doing this evening?
What's up, OG and OG Kurt? What's happening?
Hey, Reg, what's going on with you?
Oh, chilling, man. Finally in the house out this heat.
Yeah. We just cutting it up, Reg. I know you were out there in the chat while you were getting yourself ready to get on and everything. But opening up talking about this Caleb Plant situation, you know, where he's stalling for the dollars and all of that. But at the end of the day, if the fight don't take place because he's pricing himself out, I'm gonna consider that a duck on his behalf because he don't really want to get in there and take that loss. He might be one of those guys content on, you know, just swimming in a shallow pool. And believe me, there's more than a few of those out there today. So what are your thoughts on it, Reggie?
I just think he's trying to secure the money that he think is out there. I don't think he's going to duck Canelo. I don't think he's going to duck him. He'll be a big-time fool to lose out on that fight. But I think sometimes in negotiations with Canelo being the cash guy that he is, you have to go out and get what you think that you're worth. So if the benchmark is set at Billy Joe making 8, you expect at least to get hint added on to that, so an extra $1 million, extra $2 million on top of that. I don't see $2 million being that bad, but unless the zone doesn't see it as that's the kind of money they're gonna budget for that fight, then he has some other stuff to kind of negotiate.
Hold on, let me slow it down right there, Reggie. This dude don't deserve no damn $10 million to fight Canelo Alvarez. What has he done?
Why don't he?
What has he done?
Same question to Billy Joe. They throw out 8 to Billy Joe. Why ain't he worth 10?
He's the same as Billy Joe. Billy Joe had an undefeated record, got his butt whooped, didn't even finish the fight. Caleb Plant, $8 million for you too. What has he done to get more than that? $10 million. Because you said 1 or 2. If you put 2 on top of that, that's $10 million for that dude.
I mean, he'll take the 8, but I mean, still, you're gonna go in negotiations. You're gonna sell yourself for more than what you've seen another guy go in this fight and earn that for. You're gonna go in there seeking. It's negotiations. You got to.
Right, and that's why I was saying, if he don't take what is available as far as they might even put on quarters or fourths or whatever, you know, on that bag. But if the man don't want to fight for the biggest purse of his life, he'll have to fight so many more fights to even fight to get that amount of money, if the fights are even available to him. That it's like, again, these guys of today, they're all doing foolish stuff. Terrence Crawford, the Charlo, all of these guys, they really think that they're, you know, this great box office and stuff like that, but they're not, man. They need to get their butts in there and freaking fight somebody and prove they can beat real challenging fighters or whatever, and then maybe someone will throw some extra bag and heat at them. But it's like at the end of the day, you could say what you want about Canelo, but right now, he's the one that he's in the driver's seat. He can call these type of shots. But don't forget, these guys have had opportunities to step up and do other things in the meantime, in between time, and they have not. They have not. As I said, if somebody could look into what he made on his last fight, giving him $8 million to fight Canelo is like a tremendous salary increase for him. Because I don't know that. I don't know what his, because I don't pay attention to the purses a lot. But when I'm hearing these numbers, you know, and Kurt explained that that's what he's doing. He may be, you know, posturing for more money and everything. I'm like, well, damn, how much more money do he need? You know what I mean? It's like, where else is he gonna find $8 million to pick up for a fight that he know that he may lose and don't have a belt no more? That's gonna soften the blow tremendously in your bank account. But really, I mean, that's He ain't did nothing, man. He ain't did nothing. And I don't like to see that. I don't like to see these guys. Because, okay, if Caleb Plant gets $8 million, then if Canelo decides he want to fight Charlo next, then what they got to offer Charlo? 12, 15? You see how it blows it out the water, and it's like these guys ain't fighting nobody. That's the point I'm trying to make there. I mean, Kurt, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's just a ploy to get more money. They're gonna say something like $10 million, nothing less than $10 million, and they're gonna wait to see if Canelo team is gonna go for it. I'm just saying maybe, hypothetically. But so I done seen this happen before, sandbagging, we call it. And Canelo might be like, well, I'm going to go elsewhere. You're not worth $10 million. And then Canelo moves on. And instead of getting $8 million, you lose out on a whole payday altogether. That's what happened with Luis Ortiz. Remember, against Joshua, he had that fight and his highest payday. But he tried to play hardball, he gambled, and he lost. And if I was Plant, I would say $10 million, but if Canelo comes to the table and said, no, we $8 million, or his team says $8 million, that's our final offer, he better take that money, because him getting $8 million is a sweetheart deal. And I just don't look at Caleb Plant like everybody else. He's slick, he this and that. We don't know, because he never fought anybody. So I'm not high on Caleb Plant at all. So that's how I feel about it.
And I think the other fighters out there ought to play how people play when unions go on strike. You don't cross the picket line. Don't be a scab. As we said, all you other dudes Benavidez, he gonna run to y'all. Don't take anything less. It's just set up bigger paydays if Canelo continues with his undefeated streak at this point. It just leads to more money for those dudes, so they shouldn't step on each other's toes. If it's $10 million for him, only sky's the limit. It's only upward for everyone else.
Yes, sir. So, Reg, as you coming in, I wanted to give you a moment to think about the first award that we're going to call out for, and see if you had a name in mind for a comeback of the year so far. This, 6 months in, it's not the complete year, of course, but up to this point, who do you think may have given the comeback performance of the year thus far? And Kurt, do you have your candidate in mind?
Well, I have Luis Aries and Gabriel Rosado, but Aries because he haven't won a fight in a long time, and Rosado because I got Aries 1, Rosado 2 because they put him in the ring as a sacrificial lamb against Bully, and he knocked the Bully out. But I have to go by Aries because it's been a long time since he won a fight.
Okay. How about you, Reg? Were you able to put someone up for that one?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I like Kurt picks. I got Gabe in another title category, but I got, for comeback, I got Vasily Lomachenko. I thought that was a pretty impressive comeback victory. He went out there, he made a statement, beating on a fighter who's caused great difficulty to many fighters out there, and Nagatani, in the way that he made that statement to finish this guy after losing his title, being set back by a younger fighter who he's looking to get back in there with. And he made a huge statement in that win there. So I got Vasily on mine.
Okay. All right. Now, remember I was saying, as we were talking about this leading into the show, there's really no bad pick or whatever. And I don't have either of the guys that you guys have. But since I put him on my little trophy or whatever, my pick on this one is Nonito Donaire. And the reason why I picked Nonito Donaire is because his knockout victory over a world champion, even though that champion wasn't that experienced or whatever, it comes right off the heels of his performance against Monster Inoue. And Inoue is blowing through everybody, knocking everybody out and everything. And he gave monster quite a battle. And now is like the oldest guy in that division to come back and win a world title, you know, at that weight class and everything. I thought that that was enough for me to take him into consideration. Although I like Arias as well due to what you said about his record, Kurt, and how he hadn't won. And then again, Reggie's pick of Vasily coming off of his performance over Nakatani, but I think they really did they did a number on us with Nakatani, man, because it's obvious that he can't handle nobody that got good footwork and to go along with their offense. And it's not like Vasily got tremendous footwork, but he utilized those angles to the max. They must have really been studying Nakatani because those weaknesses were there, but we just didn't consider it because he was like battling people in you know, that were standing in front of him and stuff like that. So I don't know, man, but my pick happened to be Donaire. And again, like I said, you guys, your picks are not bad, you know, and I considered both of them, but I just, coming off of that Inoue fight, you probably think that he was more faded or whatever, but Donaire proved to be as sharp as a whistle. And it'll be a shame if he can't get this fight together with this Casimiro's guy that they had on the horizon, because that was going to be another test for him. So those are my thoughts on that, man. But yeah, great picks by both of you gentlemen, man. That's, you know, that's what I think right now. So and who knows, by the time we get to the end of the year, maybe someone will have even added on to the performances that we speak of, and then you can see something else out of them. You know, that's always a possibility. So we hold fast to that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you gonna say something?
Yeah, let me say this real quick about Nakatani. People flew off the handle with him. It wasn't so much he was good. It was Verdejo. Verdejo, it was such a disappointment. And when they saw the Verdejo fight and it was a stale performance by Teofimo, they took the ball and ran with it with Nakatani, because a lot of people was picking Nakatani to beat Loma. And I've seen Nakatani before. Nakatani is a rugged fighter that's going to give you 100%, but he's not that skilled. His defense is basically non-existent. So I said Lomachenko was going to stop him. I said on blue, I said in 11, but it ended, no, on 10. But I think it ended in what round did it end in again? I forgot.
I think that was like
yeah, that I can remember.
But people took the ball and ran with it with Nakatani, man. And I was like, I don't see that. They was talking about he big, he this and that. He got reach and power. I said, you describing Tommy Hearn rather than Nakatani, you know, but and we seen what happened. He got destroyed. It's just that people just overrated Nakatani.
And to add a little more to what you were just saying, Kurt, is like that's proof of, like, if these guys fought people more, it's like we could see where the real separation is. By guys protecting their records and things like that, we can't tell how good they are. It's like we really need to see people get in there. And Vasily fought like a hungry guy in his fight against Nakatani, but where was that hunger and everything when he faced Teofimo? And see, the thing about him now is this. Yeah, he may want his rematch with Teofimo and everything, but I could never trust the guy again. And I don't care if each time he fight, I'm wrong. Because the way he performed in that fight against Teofimo, I mean, going into that fight, I gave him all the credit going in and consideration toward the performance that he gave us against Nakatani for Teofimo. And you could have not convinced me to believe he wouldn't throw punches for the first 6 rounds of the fight. I mean, No way in hell could you have guessed that. He just gave the rounds away. He didn't even try. So it's like, why should I trust him going forward? I hope he get his ass whooped every time he get in the ring. Because it's like guys like that, you could say, oh, well, my shoulder was bad and this and that or whatever. I don't care, man. You in there, you can fight. Huh? If your shoulder is that bad, pull out. You can fight another day. But he goes in there and he beats the crap out of Nakatani and people are like, oh, Vasili's back. But is he? Will he go in there and try to take on Teofimo if they rematch? If he gonna try to jump on him from the opening bell? Well, if he tries to do that, I hope Teofimo hit him with something and knock him out. Because of the whole thing of how he played it, man. It's like, how do you trust guys like that? When Evander Holyfield had a hurt shoulder and everything, you could see it because you saw how he was fighting before he had a hurt shoulder. And then when his shoulder got repaired, he was fighting back like his old self or whatever. Vasily, out of nowhere, remember, his first complaint was the judges and Bob conspired against him and all of that. Then like a week later, he's in the hospital and he's got like a thing on his arm and all of this. It's like, where'd all that come from? We saw him in the gym walking on his hands and all of that stuff, right? So, I mean, come on, man. Guys like that you can't trust. I cannot give him any consideration anymore. I just want to see him get knocked out now. That's my thing. When he steps in the ring, I want to see somebody knock him out. I don't care if it's a guy that's 2-10. Knock his ass out. That's what I want to see. You guys don't have to agree with me or nothing. That's my personal thought and feeling. I don't like when guys do that and they don't perform. I was pissed off at James Toney for coming in there out of shape against Roy Jones the same way. And it's like, you want me to feel sorry for you because you didn't train and get in shape properly or whatever? And then it's like, you can, I know, if I get a rematch, I'll get him. Roy don't have to give you a rematch. You should have been thinking like that before you went in the first time. Roy saw some advantages. He took that opportunity. He ran with it. He didn't even look back. So I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. So, anybody got anything on that?
Oh, no, I was going to say so. Yeah, absolutely. I don't like excuses, man. Like you said, you walking on your hands and doing all this crazy stuff like you do. And then when you lose, just like Manny and Vasil, I had shoulder problems. Fighters can't take losses, so they had to dig up something. Most believe their own lies. A fighter's psyche is like your grandmother's porcelain china cabinet. They're very delicate and sensitive. So they conjure up something, and they look in the mirror and they try to convince themselves that my shoulder really do hurt. The bigger the lie, the more people will believe. So that's how fighters, that's what they go by.
Yeah. And salute to my man Taylor Bell out there in the super chat, man. Taylor Bell's always coming through to show support. He says, great show tonight, guys. Listening in the background while working late tonight. Salute to you, Taylor Bell. Always showing support, man. Can always count on that brother there. And he's working. He's a businessman as well. So salute to him and what he's doing. He's working late and still tuning into the show. Good stuff. But yeah, hey man, we can move forward. How about this thing with Manny Pacquiao and what they're talking about with he and Earl Spence? There's something that's coming up. Is it Mikey Garcia trying to stop the fight or something? What's going on with that? Reggie, you got any information on that?
Yeah, I think it's something dealing with the management that he was using, and him and Conor McGregor has the same management company. Many people thought was a company that was going to work in negotiations for that, but they were in this partnership. I believe they were the ones that were supposed to do the negotiating for him. So for this Earl Spence fight, it looks like Manny did the work without this group. So that's the reason behind trying to put an injunction to block it, but big thing, they probably just settled it out of court. I can't see the fight being stopped. Doesn't seem like Earl Spence or any of them are worried about it. They're continuing on with their training. They'll let the business people handle that as far as how it got to be litigated or whatnot. But I think the fight moves forward. It's just a thing of they're saying he breached whatever the partnership in that contract that they had, which was a 2-year contract.
Yeah. It's funny how somebody is always trying to interfere in something when it's like not going their way, or it's like not the benefit of the individual who's disgruntled, like Ed Hearn trying to interfere with other promotions and stuff like that, him and Bob Arum going back and forth at it and stuff like that. It's like, dude, go sit your butt down and wait for your turn. It's like you'll get your turn, but it's funny how that happens.
It's true. It also plays into how important it is to read contracts. A lot of these dudes screw themselves not reading these contracts.
Yeah, that is very true. Very true, man. I want to say also salute to my man Mike 202 in the Cash App with his little donation there, and he says, "Hey, this is for the sensei." I appreciate that, Mike 202, and appreciate you supporting the channel and listening in on the show this evening, man. So we got another award that I wanted to consider going forward, guys. We did the comeback already. So this one, I wanted to ask you gentlemen and chat, who would you pick for upset of the year thus far? Upset of the year. Now that one there may be interesting. I don't know if you guys had a chance to really consider that one, but upset of the year is one that we're gonna try to pull out next. I'll come to you, Kurt. Did you have a fight in mind when you think about upset of the year? You're on mute if you're talking.
Yeah, my upset of the year will be Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez. That was a huge shock, and it's the way he knocked out Berchelt. I could see that last punch landing in my head, and he made an emphatic statement against Berchelt. It was a high-profile fight. Nobody picked Valdez, and Valdez beat Berchelt by devastating KO. That's my upset of the year. It was another fight on the zone as well. It was an undercard fight. I forgot the name, but I'm thinking about it. But right now, I got Valdez and Berchelt as upset of the year.
And I got that fight that you're trying to think of, Kurt. But I'm gonna go to Reggie real quick and ask Reggie, who you got for your upset of the year, Reggie?
I got Mauricio Laura beating the crap out of Josh Warrington.
Absolutely, and salute to L-Dub out there in the chat as well. That's the one that he had. That's my pick for upset of the year. And Kurt, is that the one you were trying to think of?
Yeah, that's the one. That's
yeah.
The one. That was crack. He beat the brakes off Warrington. I love that.
Oh, man. That was something. And I remember watching that fight, and I was saying to myself, I was like, man, Warrington is like, he ain't all there this evening, and that dude was on him, bro. What a great performance by Mauricio Lara that night, man. He was ready to go, and Warrington was not. And you could tell, like, from that first time he got hurt and he had went down, he didn't believe it, but it was like he didn't make an adjustment to it either. He was in there, but it was like, and this guy wasn't even like the biggest puncher or anything, but he put it on Warrington, and I couldn't help but to hold that one in high regard. I was like, yeah, this is the one as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, salute to Mauricio Lara for his performance in that fight there on the DAZN broadcast. It was a great fight, great upset. So yeah, and great pick, guys, because again, like I said, you know, it's not necessarily a right or wrong. It's according to how you received your boxing. You know, it's like you might have tuned into that, might not have given it much consideration or whatever. So, and salute to L Dub out there as well, because he was definitely chimed in on that one. Also, let's see, I have another super chat out there. We got, who's that? We got Slick Tom out there in the super chat. He says, salute Stormybman. I'm late, but I'm glad I'm catching another great show. Thank you for stopping in there, Slick Tom. We appreciate you, bro, and appreciate your donation to the channel and support of the show, man. We really appreciate that. Yeah, so how about some runner-ups, guys, for that upset? Because we had some fights that kind of like were some surprising outcomes.
Yeah, the zone, there was many upsets. The fights weren't that high profile, but Tennyson lost. I mean, UK fighters were taking it on the chin, literally. And
how about Frampton? How about Frampton losing to Herring by knockout?
Yeah, it's the way of that fight too. Tennyson, Warrington, Frampton, they was taking it on the chin, literally, and it seemed like they was becoming right behind each other. So it was the Warrington, Frampton. How can I forget Kenneth Sims Jr. over Elvis Rodriguez? That was a big upset.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Kurt. Thank you for reminding us of that one, because that was one that everybody was surprised.
Yeah. Sims boxed him silly, and he didn't know what to do, just like a Freddie Roach fighter, and he had no answers for Sims.
Wow. Did you have something else, Reggie?
No, nothing I can think off top like that. But that Elvis Rodriguez one was a good one.
Yeah, that's why I thank Kurt for mentioning that one, because that one didn't even. But see, that's what happens when you watch so many fights. Something gets pushed to the side sometimes, and you don't. But the Elvis fight, and remember when it was over, we were talking about this kid can't box, man. He can't box, and it's like, you know, for him going back to the drawing board means a big deal. But it's like that ship sank that night, you know, because the book is out there on him now. And yeah, you might be strong, might have a good punch and everything, but got to have a little bit more than that when you step up in that competition, man. That's definitely something to be considered, you know? Definitely.
Absolutely. You know, Sims was a sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao, and he's just boxed him and kept away from him. Thank you. And Rodriguez was very frustrated because he tried to land the bomb, and that bomb didn't detonate, so he was stuck in mud, and you could see the confusion on his face, and that was that.
Yeah. And how about this? Because this could have went along for, you know, a candidate for another award, but I'm going to mention this as an upset. The Estrada over Gonzalez fight, because I didn't think that Estrada won that fight, brothers. I don't think he won that fight. I thought Gonzalez really put an effort in, and he deserved that victory that night. I don't know what the judges were looking at, but he could not miss with his right hand on that night. Estrada was eating everything. And I when those decisions, I felt he earned the decision, just like I felt that Gabe Rosado earned the decision over Danny Jacobs. But it's like when it goes that way, it kind of leaves a sour taste in the pit of the stomach, because when you know you're watching the match and you can see the effort that a guy is putting in, and they're not even giving him any consideration. I mean, it's like these judges, man, you just kind of like want to throw them out onto a bonfire, because it's like they don't know what the hell they're looking at, man. And just like L-Dub is saying in the chat, Roger Gutierrez over Rene Alvarado too wasn't upset, because Alvarado stopped Gutierrez in their first fight. So yeah, man, it's like when you start seeing those efforts come out of a guy, and I thought that Chocolatito, you know, he really rose up for that fight. He was up for it, and he gave a real gamey effort there, and he didn't get the win, and I was kind of sad about that for him. So did you see anything else as far as runners up to that, talking about upsets?
That's about it that I have.
Yeah. That's it for you too, Reg?
Yeah, that's all I had on that.
Okay. Let's see. I want to take a quick moment and go into our Thunderous Top 10 ratings, because although we didn't see anything really change from a little over a week ago when I brought the rating back, I want to ask you two guys to give your accounts of the list. I've already explained why I made the list like it is. You guys can comment on it, talk about who you would like to take out, who you would change around or whatever. And Kurt, I don't think you've been on when we've done the Thunderous Top 10, but the Thunderous Top 10 is not a pound for pound list. It's a list that's considering the fighters of today who are the most impactful on the sport and what they bring to the sport, and even off of their last or most fresh performances, you know, what that does for them and the sport of boxing. So that's what that is. And we have, this is the list here going from number 10 through 1. At number 10, we got Devin Haney. At number 9, I've got Oscar Valdez. At number 8, Shakur Stevenson. At number 7, Jamal Charlo. At number 6, Terrence Crawford. At number 5, it's supposed to be Jamel Charlo. I forgot to change that. Number 4 is Javante Tank Davis. At number 3, Josh Taylor. At number 2, Deontay Wilder. At number 1, Earl Spence Jr. So that's the list. Some names had been changed around before that list. Some names have fallen out. I used to have Artur Beterbiev in there. He was around number 9 or 8, something like that. I had Gary Russell Jr. in there, and he's fallen out because he hasn't fought. The man has not fought in a couple of years, it seems like. But this is the list presently. Javante holds a solid place at number 4 there, and he moved up considerably after his performance over Leo Santa Cruz, and then his victory over Mario Barrios kind of solidified where he is right now. The other guys are just kind of like bringing up the rear. Valdez has a chance to do something if he takes on one of these other young studs that's in his division. But what are your thoughts about the? And I'll come to Reggie last. But Kurt, what are your thoughts about the Thunderous Top 10 list?
Most of the fighters, I agree. Now, you said it's based on the impact of the sport, right?
Yeah, the impact along with their performances, their most recent performances. And if you notice, like, okay, Deontay is very high on the list and he broke into the list the last time I updated it. And that was simply because of, for as many people that don't want to acknowledge what he means to the sport and the heavyweight division, it's like they can't keep his name out their mouths. It's like Deontay is talked about more than anybody on this list, and he hasn't fought in over a year. And his last fight, he lost. But that's the impact that he has on the sport. So imagine if he wins his rubber match with Tyson Fury, what that's going to mean. But it's interesting because everybody wants to speak for him, but this is what he brings to the sport. So yeah, he just broke into the list, passed up a lot of people and made it to that spot based on what I've just explained. So knowing what you know of how this list is conducted, you can give me your thoughts on it.
Canelo Alvarez, you have him. I'm sorry, I'm going over. Is he in there?
No, and the reason that Canelo is not on there is because he is a drug cheat. If the guys, if the guys, that's like Tyson Fury would be on here if he wasn't a drug cheat, because they're undeniable with their skill set. But the fact that the WBC made that change for him, to be able to have a certain amount of acceptable clenbuterol in his system and all, I'm like, dude, how many more cushions and provisions do you need for people to be looking out for you? You already made your own weight division. You've given people, they've had amendments to contracts about weight clauses and this and that so he can have certain advantages. I mean, come on. You're a good fighter. You don't need all of that. But the fact that you're relying on that and you're just wallowing in that, I can't give him the same type of consideration for somebody who's out there busting their behind.
Yes, indeed. The list is pretty good. Impact, when you talk about Impact, Thunder is top 10. I'm just trying to think. Okay, I don't got no problems with it because they all impactful. So, and that's the premises of the list.
And you see how high Josh Taylor is? Josh Taylor was hanging solid at number 4, and Terrence Crawford was at number 2 prior to the last revision of the list, or he was between number 2 and number 1. It was him and Earl Spence. But since Bud Crawford has made all of these indecisive moves that have put him unfavorably with the fight fans, with the fight game, with the fighters who are potential opponents, it's like he has done nothing but drop and drop, where he should be fighting people and either solidifying the position he had or juxtaposing or whatever, but he hasn't done anything. And the whole thing with Sean Porter, the whole thing with Earl Spence, all of this stuff is it really speaks volumes about what the fans would like to see as opposed to what's actually happening. And like I said, I made a mistake at number 5 there. That's supposed to be Jamel, not Jamal. And Jamel fell simply because, again, he had some bad press. He had some things happen, but he can rise again. If he becomes undisputed, he'd be right there with Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Because they'd be two of the only undisputed fighters in the sport of boxing. So, but Josh Taylor holds fast because his victory really proved that he going through the tournament and everything, he exceeded and probably beat the toughest opponent in Regis Prograis at that time. But by picking up that last belt, I mean, you can't deny that he's a damn good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that Earl Spence took that number 1 spot is, to me, out of all the guys in there, and this is no slight on anybody else, Earl Spence has held himself with respectability. You can't do nothing but respect the guy. And he can fight. And if he fights these other champions, he probably ends up undisputed. So it's like the fact that he carries himself a certain kind of way. He came back from his accident, took on Danny Garcia, beat him. He's kind of carved out this niche for himself. So it's like he and Deontay are kind of like 1A and 1B to me, really there. So if you have no other comments on it, Kurt, I'll just throw it to Reggie and let Reggie tell us what he thinks about where the list is presently.
Yes, sir.
I don't like a few of the names on the list. I rock with Wilder, but Wilder would not be number 2 on my list. I wouldn't even have him on the list at this point right now. Shakur Stevenson, like I've stated before multiple times, I wouldn't have him on the list as well. I think there's more that Shakur has to do. I see the gifts, the talents that are there, but amongst this list here and other fighters that are out there, he has to prove himself more. Earl, I rock with Earl at number 1. I could probably see Josh Taylor or Jermell Charlo at number 2 or 3. Along with Canelo would have to be on the list to me, regardless of that OOPD test, what he failed. When Canelo gets in that ring, he does his thing. Canelo's impact is huge. Canelo's behavior as a fighter is one of a fighter. Teofimo Lopez would be on that list as well. He's accomplished a lot, regardless of his talk. That's, to me, when I look at it, even with what Colbert come out, I ain't like the term, the language in which he spoke and all this. They're not golfers. These are fighters. So they're going to speak in these languages, ignorant as it may come from them. I don't look at fighters to represent me socially, activist wise. I don't look at them as that. They're people going to talk mess. They're going to use fighting words to get in the fight. So I kind of compartmentalize a lot of that stuff that comes out the mouths of these guys. Even some excuses that will come from fighters. I understand it. I compartmentalize it. Know it's a natural instinct for athletes, period. But I rock with Wilder. That's my dog as far as a fighter, what he stands for. But nah, he wouldn't be on the list, and Shakur wouldn't either. Shakur will probably be at the top once he starts getting those opportunities. But those two wouldn't be on the list. But Josh and Jermell probably be kind of 2 or 3 between those two. Well, probably Josh, since he does hold all the titles in his division. He is the face of the division. Jermell's right there. He'll be on there. Teofimo will have to be there too because he is a face. Well, it's kind of messed up, but he is kind of the face of that division that he fights in. I can't take that away from him. Every other name on there, we'll probably see Terrence behind Teofimo. Terrence just ain't giving enough, and I can see his flip. I'm not too much into that pound for pound stuff neither. But that's how I'll view the list right there. Valdez would be questionable. Well, no, Valdez hasn't done his thing as well. But yeah, that's cool with me.
The thing about this list here, it can change with a performance. It could change with something that transpires outside of the ring. That's why I called it the Thunderous Top 10. It's not a pound for pound list. It's a list that comprises of the men of the sport and the impact that they have on the sport. Now, again, when you talk about a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, the thing is, they made provisions for this guy. They made provisions for Vasily Lomachenko as well. Now, you have a strong argument when you say that Teofimo should probably be on here and everything, and I could respect that definitely. But those two guys, no, because when you got guys who work hard, why are they being still given par gras over people who are putting in the work? It's just like when they were trying to say that Triple G was, as good as Marvin Hagler or whatever. It's like, fighting who? Marvin Hagler fought killers his entire career and had to go on the road to win the championship in a hostile territory where he wasn't even allowed to celebrate his victory, they throwing stuff at him and everything, trying to bust his head wide open to the white meat. And the thing is like, when has Triple G faced anything difficult? Anything? He's crying the blues right now because DAZN wants him to fight Demetrius Andre, and he don't want to even do that. So it's like, when you start talking about certain fighters who have had avenues open up for them, it's like, dude, I ain't gonna continue to make that mistake. It's like, those guys, the doors is locked as far as I'm concerned. And there are other fighters who will come up and pass them by. Jaron Ennis is one victory away from breaking into this list, because once he fights somebody with a name or even a title and is victorious, he's going to bump somebody out of here easily, because he has all the tools and everything. All he needs now is the opportunity. And you see how people are like shying away from him. So there are so many other fighters that you can consider instead of talking about Vasily Lomachenko and Canelo Alvarez. Those two dudes, and Canelo Alvarez could possibly beat some of the guys that he has been avoiding and everything. But it's like, unless all the ducks line up in a row, it's like, oh, I don't want to necessarily take that chance. And I'm still waiting for them to say he's going to fight Triple G a third time, because they've actually allowed Triple G to age out a couple of years. And you know Triple G wants to fight really bad, right? So next time Canelo, if they fight, probably stops the guy. So it's like, they don't fool me with the shenanigans, man. But yeah, that's my explanation of what happens. And you could possibly see, like I said, some new faces in the next couple of weeks. And you know, we'll be able to talk about it then. So yeah,
I still can't remember a few of those names, man. I just can't.
And that's fine. That's fine. But that's why I call it the Thunderous Top 10. You know, if you're talking pound for pound, half of those guys would not probably be on that list if you're talking about pound for pound, because there's some other things that will factor in and have to be considered, you know, in a more serious nature. But you can't deny Deontay Wilder is not a guy that is impacting the sport right now. This man's, every day there's a story on him. You know, he ain't even saying nothing. It's like they're making up stuff on the guy. You know what I mean? It's like, where do you see that? It's really an interesting thing. So, but yeah, we're gonna get back to this the awards, and we've got some more to consider here. With we did the upset. How about the prospect of the year? What do you guys think about who could be your prospect of the year? Now this one, I know nobody's gonna agree with my pick, but I would like to hear what you guys think about a prospect of the year.
You want to go first, Kurt?
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
I got two of them, man, but I definitely got to put at 1A, it got to be the big baby Anderson. That kid's been busy. He's been super active doing his thing. He's a real student of the game, it seems to me, and they're moving him in the right direction, and I like what's going on with his career. Very young, very active, as he should be. And also the cat somewhere out of Europe, the Stenosis kid. I like that kid. But those would be my 1A and 1B top prospects right there.
Did I hear you mention Staniosis?
Yeah.
That's my man. Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, I was making sure Boots Ennis isn't considered a prospect no more, right?
No.
Okay, so yeah, those are my two right there.
How about you, Kurt?
I would have to go with the young Puerto Rican fighter Xander Zayas. Very young, big kid, you know, could box, but he's so young. He's definitely a prospect to watch So keep the eye on him. So my prospect of the year is Xander Zayas.
That's my runner-up. That's my runner-up. But I'm going to blow you guys. Reggie really going to be mad at me on this one when I say this one. But my pick for prospect of the year thus far is none other than the Destroyer, Conor Benn. And that's off of his last fight. And the fact that he is now over here in the U.S. getting great training and sparring and everything. He's actually looking to step up to that next level where he can be a possible contender. It's great to see that he decided to relocate himself from the UK and to come over here. That's big time stuff. You got guys like Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Billy Joe Saunders. There's so many of those guys over there that don't want to come over here. And when I say come over here, that doesn't mean just come over to fight, but come over here and get a taste of the Western style of boxing, training, things like even Tyson Fury came over here. You know, so it's like there's something to be said by someone that's young in his career doing this. And I thought that with having that type of experience under his belt now, he'll be ready to break out. And I remember he called out Amir Khan, that's not such a big thing, right? But then when I heard him mention Sean Porter's name, I thought that was very interesting. And the fact that Sean Porter is ignoring him and everything, I'm like, that's even double interesting, because I think the kid has a little bit more going for him than people might see. It's just something. It's a feeling I have about him. But his skill set needs to definitely come up a little more. And he's getting that right now with the work that he's getting here. So I'm confident in that spot. I don't think his heart is a problem. The pedigree that his dad had, he's able to counsel him in the proper way, not necessarily like Eubank Sr. is doing with Eubank Jr. There's some things that I really like there with Conor, but that's why he's my pick for prospect.
Okay.
So, but yeah, man, as we roll through these, I guess we can go right on to the next one there, and that would be, who is your pick for KO of the year?
Oh, I got that one already. Tank versus Santa Cruz.
But that was in December though, wasn't it?
It was, right?
Yeah, it was in December.
Was it?
It's got to be this year.
Well, oh man, I'm thinking.
And let me just say, for the record, Kurt, I had Xander Zayas for my runner-up for prospect. That's who my runner-up was. But he's only got 3-4 fights, so he's real early.
Well, go to Reg, because I don't want to miss the knockouts. I gotta think back to all the vicious knockouts that I've seen and just pick one of them.
Yeah. You ready, Reg?
I gotta go with the one-punch knockout from Gabe Rosado. That was a beautiful knockout, beautiful setup, and also a beautiful way to come back in a fight in which this guy's coming at him boloing heavy shots up on the vet, and also being a guy, and I mean, it was just a lot that this knockout did for Gabe, especially him going into a fight, putting on what most folks thought was a victory, having it announced as a victory for him and for it to be stolen from him, and kind of to be, almost placed into a gatekeeper spot, him believing himself and setting this kid up and letting everything up out of that punch and knocking that guy out. That was a nice knockout for me right there.
Damn, see, here goes L-Dub again, man, running off fights that I forgot. Like, I forgot about Boatsy and Dos Santos, man. I forgot about that fight. Dang.
Oh, is that the one the guys start crying?
Yeah. He beat the tears out of old boy. Yeah, and that Brandon Lee who KO'd Tail, yeah, that was a good one too. See, L-Dub be on it. I think he be taking notes as he watch the fights, and he be like, I'm going to put this down for candidate fight of the year, KO of the year. I think he be doing that. That's how he have it all fresh and ready to go.
I'm missing the knockout, but I'm going to say F.A. Jogba when he knocked out that, I forgot his name. Harper? No. I forgot the guy's name he knocked out. F.A. Jogba with the right hand. Boom.
Howard. I think it was Howard because L-Dub wrote it in the chat there.
Yeah.
Because he gave us Valdez, Purgel, F.A. and Howard, Buatsi and Dos Santos, and Brandon Lee and Taya. So, yeah. My pick was Valdez and Burchelt, man. Because...
See, I started to say that, but it was too obvious. So I said, I'm going to let somebody else have it. So I try to go with something, that we don't talk about. There's another knockout. I just can't think of it. But
and that was also at the championship level. At the championship level. Right. You don't usually see champions knock each other out. It's like somebody get beat, get dropped, get up, fight safe. But, man, he turned the lights out on Burchelt in that fight, man. And Burchelt was hurt early, too. It's like he survived a few rounds when that fight could have easily been stopped earlier. But the knockout itself was so damaging, he looked like somebody had hit him in the head with a 2x4, man. It's like he stopped in his tracks and fell face first, man. What a knockout by Valdez. And that's the performance that catapulted him into my Thunderous top 10. So, off of that, that's how he broke in there. So, L-Dub saying, I do a month award show on my channel. That's how I stay up to date. Okay, that makes a lot of sense there, L-Dub. And good idea. Absolutely. Did you have another one you were thinking of, Kurt?
Nah, that's about it. I forgot. But it was low. It was like an undercard fight, but I'm gonna say a job by Howard.
Yeah,
the knockout for the.
Yeah, one thing we could say, man, this is only July. We had some scintillating performances in the first 6 months of the year. I mean, when you think about all the cards that you've watched, you know what I mean? And comparatively speaking, you look at the matches, there have been some tremendous performances out here. Even though we haven't gotten all the ones we want, we have seen some pretty darn good boxing this year thus far.
Absolutely, man. It's been a good year. And more to come. We're only halfway through.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Which is like, I probably will adopt L-Dub's consideration there where he says he does a month award show. I won't necessarily do the month award show, but I will keep myself abreast and make notations on these outstanding performances and circumstances where you don't rule someone out simply because, time has lapsed. So the next one I would like to get to, fellas, is the fight of the year. Now this one, it's kind of tough because we've seen some good fights. But what do you think about fight of the year, Reggie?
Fight of the year, man. That I got two of them. The one that just passed this week between F.A. Apoche versus Brandon Glanton. That was a hella fight. And also got Jermaine Ortiz versus Joseph Ardano. That was a war. And matter of fact, both of these are 8-round fights, I believe. I think these are both 8-round fights. And the other one was a 10-round fight. The Ardano versus Ortiz fight was an 8-round fight. And those were some impressive wars, but nothing like that F.A. Brandon Glanton from last week. That was fireworks right there.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good as well. Good picks there. And let me just backtrack for 1 second and say about the KO. My runner-up KO was Rosado's victory over Beck. That's what I had for my KO as a runner-up to Berchelt and Valdez, because that Rosado, man, as you said, Reggie, he put that dude to sleep. And then the guy was like on his face and knees with his feet up in the air in that crab position. That was like, wow. Kurt, who do you have for fight of the year?
Fight of the year?
Yes, sir.
Took place in March, I believe. That will be Juan Francisco Estrada versus Chocolatito. That's my fight of the year so far. Happened in March, and they fighting again in October.
Yeah, that's not a bad one, man. That's not a bad one at all.
That was a great fight. That was a great fight. I really enjoyed that fight, man. They styles mesh with each other, man. And yeah, fight of the year. That's the best fight I've seen this year.
I can't go wrong with that one, man. Yeah, good pick. Good pick. Now, my fight of the year, it's not hard to say it, because you know it just took place, and Reggie mentioned it. It's that Apache versus Glanton, man, and that fight right there, because the two men were cruiserweights, which mean that they both had like heavyweight type punches, and it was a skillful battle in which they gave as good as they got, and nobody went down. It was like, what the hell? How do you take shots like that? It reminded me so much of David Tu and Ika Biabuchi, but with more punches. And you could see the determination in both men. And the only reason that Apache got hurt when he did was because he was being so stubborn, like, you ain't hurting me, you know, and he got caught with some stuff, and he was near the ropes. And Reggie and I talked about this and kind of laughed about it too, where it looked like he got knocked out near the ropes, but the follow-up shot woke him back up and he didn't get a chance to fall to the canvas. But both men were defiant in their place of how they took the punishment and everything. But I really like the action that was back and forth. And as I mentioned to Kurt, Brandon Glanton is the first football player that I've ever seen box that brought all boxing skills to the ring. I've never seen a guy from a different sport come in and perform at the level that he fought. Those two men fought that match at a championship level. And there's not a lot of guys who could stand in with what they offered on that night. But, you know, as a recap of the fight itself and what I've had to say about it, and maybe you two guys have something to offer on it as well. Any final thoughts about that fight?
No, it was a great fight, man. It was, like you said, Bucci and David Toole, and also remind me of Smoking Burt Cooper and Ray Mercer. It was cut along those same cloths of that fight. You know, two men throwing a lot of punches right in the face of each other. You know, ebb and flows or war of attrition. Those are the best fights. So, yeah, I can see why you say fight of the year. It's a great, great fight.
I'm waiting for them to get that rematch going.
Yeah, you've been talking about a rematch with them, Reggie, since the first fight ended. Yes,
oh,
sir.
Heck yeah. And Apoche been on Instagram going live talking about. So he won a fight. I thought they needed some time off, but Al Heyman needs to get that fight going, man. And it's good to see that these fighters want to get back in there and fight. And Pochi's been a bit active and busy fighter as well.
Yeah, I think they're gonna fight a rematch. I was a fan of Pochi until what he said to Gladden, but that's another story. But I think they're gonna fight a rematch.
Oh yeah. That's why it was somebody on his live threatening him in this last live he did because of those statements.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it didn't take away his good fighter. I mean, it was a good fight of the year candidate. Yes, sir, Stormy. Go on to the next category.
Okay, for the next category, we've got Trainer of the Year. And this one here was kind of interesting for me. And I got 2 picks, but I only put one name on the trophy there. Reggie, what are your thoughts for Trainer of the Year?
I can't come up with no one. I didn't put nobody down for Trainer.
Okay. How about you, Kurt?
This is a bit of a surprise because he got his hands tied. And in the midst of having his hands tied, he's able to train and have his fighter win 2 big fights already. Well, not already. One was last year, but he just trained the fighter who won the big fight, and that would be, to me, Calvin Ford. To me, he improved a lot as a trainer. I listened to trainers because I train fighters. He took Tank as a little boy and take them to a very, very high level. It was because of Tank's last 2 fights. You see the improvement in Tank, and I will give the credit to Calvin Ford. I was trying to come up with somebody, but I like what Calvin Ford is doing as a trainer. He don't get mentioned much, but I like Ford.
Yes, sir. Well, for me, this is going to probably surprise some people, but maybe not. I don't know. But my pick for Trainer of the Year, it was a tie, but give him some credit for what he's shown from some of the work he's done, and that's going to be Malik Scott, to get Deontay back in a technical sense of a boxer and what we've seen of how his training and everything. And I remember him saying at the press conference, he said that they've had 3 training camps already. So possibly the performance that you'll see coming up from Deontay, you know how we talk about, and Kurt and I, we've had these conversations, but we talk about like when a fighter suffers a loss, sometimes he needs a fight, you know, to get back on the winning track and everything. And possibly one of the worst things that the Fury camp did was give this man time, because he put the work in the time that he was off. And you could see the rededication. You don't even know when those original films of him hitting the pads in that room or whatever on the indoors and stuff, you don't even know when that was shot. They just showed it to you, released it publicly. But that could have been during that second camp. It could have been toward the end of the first camp. You just don't know. But what you do know is, technical wise, he's throwing tighter punches. And from what I've heard from the contact on the inside, what he's doing in the gym is really good stuff. So that is like really good, that for everything that Mark Breland said he wasn't doing and everything, we've seen the total opposite of that. And sometimes a person needs a kick in the pants to get rededicated. We're all like that in life sometimes. We get shown something and we don't want to be shown up again, and we get back on track. But my other trainer that I couldn't get on that trophy with him is I picked Derek Bozie Ennis, Jaron Ennis's dad, because of the work he's done with Jaron Ennis and where he's placed him. Just like Kurt said about Mr. Ford and how he's taken Tank. But how about, you know, the job he's done with Jaron and the fighter that he's turned him into, that when you see that man perform, you're like, damn, he looks great. He looks stunning. He looks like $1 million fighter. You know what I mean? It's like you can see he's got the goods. You know what I mean? And that work that he's put in with his son, it's like it's there, man. It can't be denied. Now, I don't know that he's working with some other fighters or whatever, but the work he's done with Jaron has put Jaron in a great position, because they're not going to be able to run from him forever. And it's just a matter of time. It was just like when Roy Jones was coming up. It was just a matter of time before he got that shot at that title. And then he never looked back after becoming a champion. So I think we're going to see the same thing out of this young man. And I do believe he has that type of offensive thing that he's going to be exciting to watch, like Tank Davis is. And I'm not saying he's going to be knocking people out like Tank Davis, but I'm saying he's going to be electrifying with his offense, and he's going to be pretty damn hard to hit with his defense. So he's got really good feet, as Kurt likes to say, smart feet. He gets in there, he can move, he could give you angles and everything and have you all twisted up in a pretzel while he's laying them beams on you. So salute to Mr. Derek Ennis for the work he's done with his son. Those are my choices for Trainer of the Year. Any comment, guys? Nothing? It's like it's quiet.
Oh, I was waiting for Reggie to say something.
Hey,
No, go ahead, Reg.
Stormy, I can't rock with that Malik Scott pick, man. But I can't rock with that.
Okay.
But I do like Malik. I liked what he got as far as Wilder implementing, but it has to be applied inside that fight with Malik Scott. But I like what he's doing. I like his boxing mind, but I think he has to apply it and see what the result comes from out of that.
Did you have something, Kurt?
Oh, you finished? Okay. No, that's about it. I ain't had nothing else. My trainer's Calvin Ford, and yeah, I like the Boozy in this pick though.
Yeah. Now we can move forward to the final pick, and that will be for the first 6 months out of the year. Who would you guys have in there as your fighter of the year? This right here is a pick that, you know, it's an easy pick to make to me, you know, but depends on what you like and who you like as far as a fighter and how they perform. So I want to say, Reggie, what do you think for your fighter of the year?
I got to go with the unification bout that happened this year, and that's got to be with Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez. My fighter year got to go to Josh Taylor. Like what Josh Taylor's done as far as reaching his point in his career, the route in which he took to get here, and his willingness to fight everyone, and even his willingness to do it over here in America, not just become a domestic fighter. I think he's really trying to become an international fighter, willing to fight everyone. He's even willing to go up to 147 to fight Terrence Crawford, whoever they have lined up, the Tank Davises, Tiafimo, any of these new up-and-coming guys. But it looks like he's taking care of all the business at 140. I think he's a complete fighter, being for me, a European descent fighter. He's separated himself from them, and he's competing against the real dynamic class and being able to scrap amongst any type of fighter that you have out there. The way he went into that fight against Jose Ramirez, he makes Jose up something bad. And the way that he fights out the clinch, which is where he scored one of them knockouts, the dude is just complete as a very complete fighter. And you have to stay busy in a fight with him, because ain't no telling where he takes a fight to. He can box, he can scrap on the inside, he can scrap in the clinch. The dude's he's a bad A dude. But so that's my fighter of the year right there is him.
My fighter of the year, I was going to say Josh Taylor. You got to give this man props. He put in the work, won a big fight against Ramirez. He did it the old-fashioned way. He's an undisputed champion. To me, it's kind of easy. Josh Taylor is my fighter of the year.
Okay, good picks, guys. Good picks. My fighter of the year, Gervonta Tank Davis. From December to just last week, 2 scintillating knockouts over 2 very popular Latin fighters, strategically done and strategically presented to the boxing public to showcase him at his best. And they are going to force him into being a star in a means of which a lot of people are still sleeping on this formula, but it exists. And one thing he's leaving the public saying is like, we want to see him again. When he gonna fight again? And it's like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And they're gonna optimize it. They're gonna make the most money they can out of it. And he's not necessarily gonna be in the ring with who you want to see him fight, but he's gonna be in there making money off of whomever they decide is gonna be in there with them. And that's very interesting. Very interesting. But he makes my he makes my fighter of the year, and he did it within the past 6 months. 2 fights, 7 months if you count December with his performance with Santa Cruz. So it's like he's doing it the right way. They've got a great blueprint for him, and it's like, wow, it can't be denied. So that, you know, those are my thoughts on that. And when I considered fighter of the year, my runner-up, believe it or not, was Canelo Alvarez. And the reason Canelo Alvarez was the runner-up is because over the past, I want to say you go back to like last August or so, Canelo has fought more than, you know, a lot of people in the sport for a prime name fighter in the sport. So, but his performances haven't been as exciting as and electrifying as Tank's. So that's why Tank got the edge as far as I'm concerned. But both guys been active, and Tank, you know, fighting within 6 or 7 months of his last fight. Hey, that's a little more frequent than I thought they were going to go. Because remember, his last fight before Santa Cruz was almost a year, you know. So he's getting in there, man. They're doing it. So, but those are my thoughts.
Good pick.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, man, that's, you know, that's what it is. So, and my goodness, we rounded that out very well, guys. We're right here at the hour, and it's been a great conversation of boxing talk for the chop session this evening. I didn't even know we were going to pace it through in that way, but we did a good job. That's 2 nights in a row I had tremendous streams with Kirk and Reggie. The 3 Wisemen last night, and then this chop session tonight, man. Great show, fellas. I appreciate you coming in here and helping me to look good. So I really appreciate your efforts, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great stream, man. It was a great show, man. I just jumped on, pulled double duty today, and I love talking boxing, man, you know, and with you and Reg, man, and that's what it is, man. I'm going to go to sleep thinking about boxing and wake up, watch some old fights tomorrow until the Cobra fight, and, that's what it is, man. Boxing runs through my blood, man, and thanks for inviting me. I'm going to fall off right now, and old man got to get some sleep.
Yeah, thanks
right,
again.
but
Thanks again for stopping in, Kurt. You're always welcome and appreciated
yeah,
here, man. And
yes, sir, fellas. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, you just made it all the better that we had another voice on tonight to talk about, you know, the awards. So we really appreciate you joining us this evening. If you're talking,
Yes,
you
I
on mute.
appreciate.
Go ahead.
I pulled my headphones out my phone, so but you guys have a good night. And Stormy, I'll call you tomorrow. Reg, man, thanks a lot, bro. Later chat, aka the family. Peace out to everybody.
All right, OG Kurt. You know.
All right. So Reggie, why don't you go ahead and give us some final thoughts, man, on tonight's show and anything else you might have had in mind.
Oh, yes, indeed, man. Another great show, man. Another great show. Great range of topics. And I didn't even realize when you was talking about the mid-year show, I didn't realize I knew it was July, but I almost forgot that July was the 7th month of the year. I'm thinking it's like the 4th month. So this year been really flying by on me. But another great show, man. And it's been really a great year of boxing. Like I was hearing Kurt stating earlier in the show, that there's no need for people to complain because they've been delivering too much boxing, to be honest. I'll sound almost ASS backwards with complaining that they put on too many fights, because when you look at the fights, there's multiple networks providing all of this content. It's almost to the point to where they're going to be able to provide Tuesday night fights, Thursday night fights, bring Sunday fights, because that last Sunday was a dope boxing card. There's so much boxing out here, and there's so much for these fighters to give, and there's networks entering the sport of boxing. I even think Triller is starting to get into where they're going to start offering more type of fight content. But there's so many fighters out here, and this provides the opportunity for these guys to start getting themselves in shape, to start taking these fights. Otherwise, they don't take fights. There's someone there to move them to the side. But there's a lot to happen with boxing. Hopefully, these promoters don't get in the way, and if they do, fighters start taking things in control for themselves. What are we, 22 days away from Wilder versus Fury? I want to see, hopefully, Wilder go in there and avenge that loss to Tyson Fury, want him back on top of the throne. I can see it happening, and I hope that it happens. It has to happen, but I can't wait for that. There's so much happening in this sport of boxing, man, and it's a whole lot. And then we got Colbert fighting tomorrow, so we'll be calling that fight. And we're doing a post fight, right?
Oh yeah, we'll be doing a post fight after the fight calls for tomorrow night. So definitely that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So again, great show, Reg. Appreciate you and your contributions, and appreciate everybody that came out in the chat this evening. Those who stopped by just to smash the like button and show some support. Those who donated to the channel, man. You guys are really troopers for supporting Stormybman like you have this evening, and like you've been doing as of most lately and recently. So nothing but love from my heart from that, man. So we're going to get on up out of here. And this OG is going to lay it down too. Got to get some rest because we got to be ready for those fights for tomorrow night. And we'll be right back tomorrow night for a post-fight show, Reggie and I. So salute to everybody. Enjoy your holiday weekend. That's right. This is 4th of July weekend. So be safe out there. And make sure if you got kids, make sure your kids are safe. Be careful with those fireworks. And we will catch you guys tomorrow night. Peace to everybody.